Have you ever walked through a season where you feel invisible, like you are showing up, you are doing what you can, but nothing seems to shift? That's when the enemy starts whispering, see, even God forgot about you. But don't fall for that lie. You are not just a passing thought to him. You are a divine creation. And you feel like you are being overlooked, you have to remind yourself of one truth. God doesn't operate on popularity or applause. He operates on purpose. And purpose doesn't require an audience to exist. You are already known in the highest places. Even when you are surrounded by people but still feel lonely, God is right there. He's been there on your hardest nights. He's caught the tears you didn't even have the strength to wipe away. Just because the world hasn't clapped for you yet doesn't mean heaven hasn't noticed your efforts. Sometimes God pulls you into quiet seasons to remind you of his voice over the crowd. He doesn't need noise to validate you. Some of the most life-changing moments come in silence when it's just you and him. That's where clarity happens. You don't need a platform to be chosen. God chose you long before anybody else had an opinion about you. You don't need validation from people who can't see what God is building in you. He hasn't forgotten you. He's preparing to reveal you. Your name is engraved in his plan. Your journey isn't random. Every turn, every trial, every tear has been accounted for. And if God knows your name, then no circumstance can erase your purpose. Have you ever woken up already tired? Not from the day, but from your mind racing all night? That's the weight of worry. It sits on your chest and doesn't let you breathe. And most of the time, we carry things we were never meant to pick up in the first place. Worry convinces you that everything is on your shoulders. That if you don't fix it, it won't get fixed. That if you don't make it happen, it'll never happen. But here's the truth. God never asked you to carry that kind of pressure. That's not strength. That's survival mode. Trust is lighter. Trust says, even if I don't have all the answers, I know the one who does. It doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you move with peace instead of panic. Worry drains your spirit, but trust energizes your steps. You can feel it when you shift into trust. It's like taking a deep breath after holding it too long. You start seeing possibilities instead of problems. You start finding rest in the middle of chaos. Trust doesn't erase the challenge. It gives you the strength to face it. Worry is sneaky, though. It disguises itself as responsibility. It tells you if you don't stress about it, you don't care. But that's a lie. You can care deeply and still rest in God's plan. Trust doesn't mean you gave up. It means you gave it to the right hands. There's a reason why God said, cast your cares on me. He didn't say carry them until you collapse. He said give them to him because he knows they are too heavy for you. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Real strength is knowing when to let go. Every time you choose trust over worry, you take your power back. You stop letting fear write your story. And every time you release that burden, you make room for God to do what only he can do. It's hard when you're waiting and nothing's moving. You start questioning everything. Did I miss it? Did I mess up? Did God change his mind? But what if the delay isn't rejection? What if it's refinement? God isn't slow. He's strategic. We live in a world that wants everything fast. Fast success, fast love, fast answers. But anything worth having takes time. You wouldn't pull a cake out of the oven halfway and call it finished. So why do we do that with our dreams? Sometimes God is working on something in you before he releases what's for you. You are praying for a blessing, but he's building the character to sustain it because he's not just interested in getting it to you. He wants it to last when it gets there. Delays can feel like punishment, but they are just preparation. That job you didn't get, maybe it would have destroyed your peace. That relationship that didn't work out, maybe it would have derailed your purpose. God sees things you don't. Have you ever been stuck in traffic just to find out later there was a bad accident ahead? That's how God works. He stops you not to frustrate you, but to protect you. You are worried about time, but he's working on timing. The blessing you are praying for isn't lost. It's maturing. It's developing. And if God is making you wait, it's only because the outcome is worth the patience. Trust me, you don't want it early. You want it right. Keep preparing, even when nothing's happening. Keep believing, even when there's no confirmation. Because when God finally says now, everything that felt stuck will suddenly start flowing. This pressure hits hard, especially when life doesn't make sense. You start thinking you have to figure everything out on your own. You feel as if you don't have the solution today, then you are falling behind. But listen, you're not God. You weren't created to know everything, fix everything, or carry every unknown. That kind of pressure will break a person if they try to hold on to it too long. Yeah. We were raised to believe that strength looks like always knowing what to do. That confidence means having a plan for every situation. But real strength is knowing when to say, I don't know, but I trust God does. That kind of trust isn't weak, it's powerful. It's one of the most freeing decisions you will ever make, letting go of the need to control everything and just believing that God's got it mapped out better than you could ever imagine. There will be seasons in your life where the answers don't come fast, where every door seems to close, where every why gets met with silence. And that's when your faith is tested the most. Can you trust God when you don't understand what he's doing? Can you keep walking when the path isn't clear? Can you wake up and give it your best, even when you don't know where it's leading? People around you will expect explanations, timelines, and step-by-step plans. They'll want to know your strategy, your backup plan, and your 5-year goal. But sometimes God doesn't give you a blueprint. He gives you a burden and says, follow me. And that's scary because it feels like you are moving blind. But faith was never about sight. It's about trust in the one who sees the whole picture. Have you ever noticed how the more you try to figure it all out, the more frustrated you get? That's because peace doesn't come from knowing. It comes from surrendering. You can either spend your days trying to connect all the dots, or you can say, God, I trust you with the pieces, even when I don't see the whole puzzle. And the minute you stop chasing certainty is the minute you start experiencing peace. Not having all the answers is proof that you are walking with God. If you had it all figured out, there'd be no need for trust. God doesn't always reveal the plan because he wants you to depend on him more than the details. You grow in the dark, not in the spotlight. You build character in confusion, not in clarity. That's where trust gets real, when answers don't come, but you choose to believe anyway. So don't beat yourself up for not knowing what's next. Don't let fear convince you that you are failing because things don't make sense right now. You are not lost. You are being led. And sometimes being led looks a lot like standing still, being quiet and saying, God, I don't know how, but I know you will. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, this ain't how it was supposed to go? You had a plan. You had goals. You had a timeline. And somewhere along the road, everything flipped upside down. That job fell through. That relationship broke. That dream hit a wall. And you start wondering if maybe God made a mistake when he put you on this path. But let me tell you right now, he didn't. He never had. He never will. It's easy to trust God when life looks like the blueprint you imagine. But what about when it doesn't? What about when things get messy, confusing, and flat out unfair? That's when you got to remember God doesn't mess up. You didn't slip through the cracks. You weren't forgotten on the drawing board. Every turn, every twist, every painful moment is part of something greater than you can see right now. Sometimes what feels like a mistake is just a miracle in disguise. That door that slammed in your face, it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. That person who walked away, they weren't part of your destiny, they were part of your development. We get so caught up in the loss that we miss the lesson. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't miscalculate your journey. He sees the whole picture while you are stuck staring at one piece. When life hits hard, it's natural to ask, why? Why me? Why now? Why this? But maybe the better question is, what? What is God building in me through this? What strength is he growing? What pride is he breaking? What purpose is he preparing me for? Because if you look back, I guarantee there were times you thought it was over, yet somehow you made it. That wasn't luck, that was grace. God's plan is never accidental. You think it's a detour, but he calls it a setup. You think it's a setback, but he calls it a step up. Just because you didn't plan it doesn't mean he didn't propose it. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs come out of what you thought were the biggest breakdowns. You wouldn't have chosen the path, but it's molding you into someone you were born to become. You've got to stop thinking God is like people. People mess up. People let you down. People change their minds. But God is consistent. He doesn't write sloppy stories. He doesn't create anything without intention. If you are still here, that means he's still working. He doesn't make half-finished masterpieces. He doesn't walk away from what he starts. That includes you. So if you are doubting your story, pause and breathe. You are not behind. You're not broken. You are becoming. And even if it doesn't make sense right now, trust this. God never makes mistakes. And he didn't start with you. There's a moment in every person's life when they are holding on so tight to something that it's draining the life out of them. Tight fist, tight chest, tight mind. You're overthinking every move, second guessing every decision, trying to control things that were never yours to control in the first place. That's not peace. That's pressure. And pressure will crush your spirit if you don't learn how to let go. Letting go doesn't mean you have given up. It means you have finally realized that your peace is more valuable than your pride, that your sanity is more important than being right. Your purpose can't breathe under the weight of constantly worrying, stressing, and trying to force life to happen your way. Peace doesn't come from perfect conditions. It comes when you surrender the outcome to God. We were never built to carry the whole world on our shoulders, but we sure act like we were. We try to carry our past, our future, everyone else's opinion, every unanswered question, every what if and what now. You will never feel peace until you stop trying to be the author of a story God is still writing. You don't need to write the ending. You just need to trust the process and turn the page. The thing about letting go is that it feels scary at first. It feels like you are losing control when really you are gaining freedom. You can't fly while clinging to things that weigh you down. You can't grow while holding on to what no longer fits. You can't sleep peacefully when your mind's racing about problems that are outside your hands. God can't move when you are too busy micromanaging what he's trying to bless. Some of y'all are so tired, and it's not because you are lazy or weak. It's because you are carrying things God already told you to drop. That grudge, let it go. Are you worried about tomorrow? Let it go. That fear of failing again, let it go. You are holding your breath, waiting for the perfect moment. But God is saying, breathe. I got you. The more you release, the lighter you become. And peace loves to rest in open hands, not clenched fists. People might call you crazy for letting go when it looks like you should fight harder. But there's a difference between giving up and giving it to God. You will never have peace trying to do God's job. You have got to come to a place where you say, I don't understand this, I don't like this, but I'm trusting that he's working this out better than I ever could. That's where peace starts showing up. Not in perfection, but in surrender. Peace doesn't shout, it whispers. And you won't hear it until you silence the noise of fear, pride, and control. When you finally let go, something shifts inside of you. Your heart slows down. Your thoughts are clear. Your spirit rests. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's not quitting, that's choosing peace over panic, faith over force, and trust over tension. Pain is one of those things we wish we could avoid, but it always finds its way in. You try to be strong, try to stay focused, try to keep moving, but life hits hard. Maybe it was a loss. Maybe it was betrayal. Maybe it was the silence from God when you needed answers the most. And in that moment, it feels like pain is pointless, but it's not. There's nothing wasted in God's hands, not even your tears. You don't grow when everything is easy. You grow when it hurts, when you are stretched, when you are forced to dig deep just to keep going. Pain develops what comfort never could. It builds resilience. It sharpens your character. It teaches you how to stand when you feel like falling. Some of the strongest people walking this earth were built in the dark seasons, not the sunny ones. There's a reason why you went through what you went through. You didn't survive that storm just to move on like it never happened. You went through that pain so you could learn something, change something, or become something you never would have reached if life stayed comfortable. Pain shakes you. It exposes what's real. It separates what's temporary from what truly matters. Sometimes the pain you carry is the very thing that will heal someone else. Your scars have a voice. The heartbreak you thought would destroy you, one day it will be the testimony that gives someone else hope. That failure that knocked the wind out of you, it'll be the very experience that teaches someone how to rise again. Your pain is bigger than just you. It's connected to somebody else's freedom. We ask God to use us, to elevate us, to take us to new levels, but we forget that new levels come with new breaking points. Before you can be trusted with greatness, you have to be tested by fire. And fire doesn't feel good. Fire refines. Fire strips away what's fake. Fire reveals what's inside. Your pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You were being shaped for something more than you can imagine right now. You don't have to understand all the reasons behind your suffering to believe that it's not in vain. Trusting that your pain has a purpose doesn't mean you're okay with what happened. It means you believe something better will come from it. Every tear you cried, it planted something. Every time you stayed faithful while hurting, it built something. And one day you will look back and realize that pain didn't break you, it built you. You didn't come this far just to collapse. You are still standing for a reason. There's something in you that was never meant to quit. You are going to carry your pain differently when you realize it's producing purpose. When you realize it's not the end of your story. It's part of the setup for what's coming next. The pain had to come because the purpose had to grow. Faith is not about waiting until everything makes sense. If you are waiting for perfect clarity before you take a step, you are not moving by faith. You are moving by logic. And faith doesn't operate like logic. Faith says, I don't see the whole picture, but I'm still going. It says, I don't know how this ends, but I trust who's leading me. If you need all the answers before you move, then you're not trusting, you're calculating. There are times when God will purposely keep you in the dark just long enough to see if you will still walk. He won't give you the whole staircase. He'll give you one step, and he'll say, will you move with just this? That's hard. That's uncomfortable, but that's faith. It's trusting that even though the path isn't lit, your steps are ordered. That even though it's foggy right now, you are still going in the right direction. It will have you looking crazy. It'll have you stepping out with nothing but a promise in your heart. People will question you, doubt you. Even you will doubt yourself. But deep down, you know something is pushing you forward. It's not hype. It's not luck. It's that inner confirmation from God that you are supposed to move whether you see how it ends or not. And once you get that, you can't stay still. You are never going to feel 100% ready. Stop waiting for a sign that's already inside you. That vision you have, that desire that won't go away, that's the sign. But if you keep waiting until you have more money, more support, more clarity, more confidence, you will be stuck forever. Faith doesn't wait for full supply. Faith walks with empty hands. Believing God will fill them along the way. You won't always feel strong when you walk in faith. Sometimes you will feel shaky. Sometimes you will be scared. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's movement in the presence of it. You might tremble while you take that step, but take it anyway. That's how breakthroughs happen, not by sitting still and analyzing every outcome, but by moving, trusting that God is already ahead of you. Faith means starting when you don't have a finish line. It means believing when your bank account says otherwise. It means showing up when the doors haven't opened yet. That's the real power of faith. It doesn't wait for confirmation. It creates confirmation through action. You don't prove your belief by what you say. You prove it by what you do when things don't look clear. You are going to have to leap at some point. You're going to have to say, I don't see the full picture, but I know the one who painted it. That kind of trust moves mountains. That kind of obedience opens doors. That kind of faith isn't quiet, it's bold. It's gritty, it's built in the dark, but it walks like the light is already there. Pressure will convince you that you're about to break, but God's plan will remind you that you were built to carry more than you think. Life throws deadlines at you, expectations, setbacks, delays, and in the middle of it all, it feels like you have to figure everything out before the clock runs out. That kind of pressure can make you panic, start doubting yourself, or even question your path. But pressure is just noise when purpose is louder. Sometimes God will allow the pressure to rise just to prove that it won't crush you. You think it's all falling apart, but it's coming together behind the scenes. What looks like chaos to you is still under control to Him. God never promised this walk would be easy, but He did promise His plan was solid. It's not built on how you feel today. It's built on what He already decided about you before you even showed up. Pressure wants you to quit. It wants you to give up before the breakthrough. But God's plan is never dictated by temporary emotions. You can cry and still be chosen. You can feel overwhelmed and still be in alignment. You can be frustrated and still favored. Stop letting pressure talk louder than your promise. Pressure is loud, but it's not lasting. God's plan goes beyond the noise. You are not under pressure because you are failing. You are under pressure because you are growing. Growth stretches you. Growth squeezes out the comfort. Growth puts a demand on the gift inside of you. That tension you feel, that's a signal that God is taking you higher. He's developing capacity in you so you can carry the next level. You can't step into greatness without learning how to manage pressure. If you let the pressure define your steps, you will miss the purpose behind the process. God doesn't operate on your timeline. You are stressing over things that He's already scheduled. You were worried about how and when, and He's saying, just follow me. The pressure might be real, but His plan is greater. Every delay is designed. Every closed door is protection. Every no is making room for a better yes. You don't have to hold it all together to be on track. Sometimes you will move forward in tears. Sometimes you will keep going with anxiety knocking at your door. But even in your weakest moments, God's plan still stands. It doesn't get canceled because you feel unqualified. It doesn't get revised because life threw a curveball. His plan is bigger, stronger, and longer lasting than anything trying to stop you right now. You have got to shift your focus from the pressure to the purpose, from what's squeezing you to what's shaping you, from what's going wrong to what's going right behind the scenes. That pressure is not proof of defeat. It's a sign you are getting closer. It's proof that you have been entrusted with something heavy because you have the strength to carry it. Not every closed door is an attack. Sometimes it's God's protection in disguise. But you prayed for direction, didn't you? You asked God to guide your steps, to take you where you are meant to be. So when that opportunity shut down, when that person walked away, when that plan fell apart, maybe that was the answer. We just don't always recognize protection when we're focused on our expectation. We think if a door doesn't open, something is wrong. But what if the door didn't open because it was never your door? You don't want to force your way into something that doesn't have your name on it. What's meant for you won't require begging, chasing, or stressing. It'll be aligned. It'll have peace. It'll make sense even if the timing doesn't. It just means it's being redirected. Sometimes God will let a door close because what's behind it can't go with where He's taken you. It might have been good, but it wasn't great. It might have felt right, but it wasn't God's best. You were settling and didn't even know it. He saw what you didn't. He heard the conversations you never knew about. He understood what that situation would have cost you long term. So He shut it down before it could damage you. Closed doors can feel personal, especially when your identity is wrapped up in that plan, that relationship, that job, or that outcome. But God doesn't take things from you to hurt you. He removes them to make space. You can't receive what's next with arms full of what was. You have got to trust that subtraction in your life is part of God's multiplication. Something better is being built and it needs room to grow. There are blessings on the other side of closed doors, but you won't see them if you keep staring at what didn't happen. Don't let disappointment blind you to destiny. Don't let what ended stop you from starting again. Sometimes rejection is the redirection you needed. That door shut because it was time for you to elevate, to shift, to walk into something that matches who you are becoming. You have got to stop asking why the door closed and start asking what's next. What is God trying to show you? What lesson did you need to learn? What strength is being developed? Every closed door is attached to a purpose. It's not random. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Closed doors are not the end of your story. They are just a plot twist that leads to a better chapter. Let go of the need to control which doors stay open. That's not your job. Your job is to keep walking, keep trusting, and keep showing up. What's meant for you will open at the right time, in the right way, with the right peace. Every closed door is just a reminder that God is still writing your story, and He hasn't forgotten where it's going. You keep thinking you need to get everything in order before you take that step. You're waiting for the right moment, the perfect circumstances, or for all your flaws to be fixed before you move. But here's the truth. God doesn't need to be perfect. He needs to be willing. He doesn't need you to have it all together. He just needs you to say yes, even in your mess. He's been waiting for your willingness, not your perfection. We've been taught that we need to present the best version of ourselves before we can be used. We think we need to have all the skills, the experience, and the qualifications. But that's not how God works. He doesn't choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. When God calls you, it's not about your ability, it's about your availability. Are you willing to step up even when you feel unqualified? Are you willing to trust Him with your flaws, your struggles, and your fears? God is not waiting for you to be flawless. He's waiting for you to show up. You might not feel ready. You might feel inadequate, scared, or not good enough. But God doesn't need your perfection to move in your life. He needs your obedience. He needs your willingness to trust that He can use you as you are. Your brokenness doesn't disqualify you. It allows God to show His strength through your weakness. Perfection doesn't give God room to work. If you were perfect, you'd be trying to take all the credit. But when you are willing, when you are humble enough to admit you need Him, that's when God can step in and do the impossible. It's not about your resume. It's about your heart. It's about saying, God, I don't know how, but I'm willing to trust you with whatever comes next. That's when God can make something great out of nothing. The fear of being imperfect keeps so many people from stepping into their purpose. You are waiting on the right time, the right skill, the right circumstances, but God doesn't need the right circumstances. He just needs you to step into the unknown with faith. He doesn't expect perfection from you. He expects trust. Trust that even if you don't have it all figured out, He has the perfect plan. Trust that even when you stumble, He'll pick you up and keep you moving forward. God has never asked for perfection. He's asked for willing hearts. He's asked for people who will follow His lead, even when the path doesn't make sense. You might not know the whole story, but He does. You might not feel equipped, but He's got everything you need. You just have to say yes. Stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect version of yourself. God can use you right where you are. He just needs you to be willing to start. You are waiting to be perfect before you move, but God is waiting for you to move so He can perfect you. He doesn't need you to be flawless. He needs you to be faithful. He needs you to take that step even when you feel unready. God can do incredible things with imperfect people who are willing to trust Him. That's how His power is made perfect. In your weakness, in your vulnerability, in your willingness to say, here I am, use me. Fear will try to drown out everything, every whisper of hope, every ounce of confidence. It gets loud in your head, filling every corner with doubt and confusion. Fear doesn't play fair. It's relentless. It talks louder than your faith, louder than your dreams, louder than the plans God has for you. And when it gets loud, it can be easy to forget that there's a still small voice that's been speaking all along. And that voice is the voice of God. Fear wants to paralyze you. It wants to keep you stuck in your head, replaying worst case scenarios, convincing you that you are not good enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough to move forward. But God's voice, though quieter, is more powerful. It cuts through the noise and offers a peace that fear can't touch. While fear shouts about failure, God whispers about faith. Fear tells you to retreat. God tells you to advance. You have to choose whose voice you are going to listen to. You won't always hear God's voice over the noise of fear unless you intentionally quiet yourself. It's easy to get caught in the panic of the moment, to focus on the uncertainties. But God's voice is calm, steady, and certain. It doesn't rush. It doesn't make demands. It just speaks truth, speaks peace, and speaks purpose into your life. When fear is yelling at you to give up, God is telling you to keep going, to trust that the steps you are taking are leading you to something greater. He wants you to believe that your feelings are facts. It will have you thinking that because you are scared, there's something wrong. It will make you think that because you feel overwhelmed, you are unqualified. But God doesn't speak to your feelings. He speaks to your potential. He sees where you are going, not just where you are. And when fear is telling you it's too hard, too impossible, or too risky, God is whispering, I've got you. Keep moving forward. The louder fear gets, the more important it is to tune in to God's voice. Fear will never stop making noise. It will never stop trying to drown out your faith and keep you stuck. But you have got to stop giving it so much attention. You can't let fear be the loudest voice in your life. When fear rises, that's the time to lean in closer to God. His voice is always there, ready to drown out the noise if you will listen for it. Fear will try to tell you that you are not equipped, not prepared, that you are about to fail. But God's voice is the reminder that you are more than enough. His voice speaks the truth about who you are. It calls out the greatness inside of you, even when you can't see it for yourself. It lifts you when fear tries to tear you down. So when fear rises and tries to drown out everything, remember that God's truth is louder. And it's the only truth that matters. The louder fear gets, the more you need to remind yourself of God's promises. Fear will scream about everything that can go wrong, but God will speak peace about everything that will go right. Fear tries to block your purpose, but God's voice is the key to unlocking it. You don't have to give in to the fear. You don't have to let it run your life. The moment you choose to listen to God's voice, you silence the power of fear. You prayed for it, didn't you? You asked God to take you to the next level, to elevate you, to open doors that you never thought would be possible. But here's the thing. Growth doesn't come without a process. The challenges, the struggles, the obstacles you are facing right now aren't there by accident. They are not meant to stop you. They are building you for what you asked for. Every setback is a setup for something greater. And every difficult season is preparing you for the future you have been praying for. You have been wanting the blessing, the breakthrough, the success. But you can't just get to the top without first going through the climb. You can't build strength without resistance. You can't learn how to endure without some weight to carry. What you are going through right now is God's way of preparing you for what's coming. It may not feel comfortable, but you are being shaped, refined, and strengthened to handle the greatness that's on its way. Sometimes we think we're ready for the blessing, but God knows better. He sees the bigger picture. He knows that if you had everything you wanted right now, you wouldn't be able to handle it. You are being stretched. You are being equipped with the tools you will need to not just survive the blessing, but thrive in it. The journey isn't about punishing you, it's about positioning you. Every trial, every tough moment is a training ground for the person you need to become. It's easy to look at the struggle and think it's a sign that you are not meant to have what you desire. But the struggle is a sign that you are on the right path. The stronger the struggle, the bigger the purpose. Think about it. If the dream were easy, everyone would have it. If the blessing came without the process, it wouldn't be as meaningful. God has given you everything you need to sustain and appreciate what you are about to receive. So stop complaining about the work and start embracing the process. It's preparing you for greatness. You can't skip the process, no matter how hard it seems. You can't shortcut the lessons that are being taught through these challenges. The person you are becoming through this struggle is the person you need to be when you reach your destination. If you skip this part, you will be unprepared for what's on the other side. God knows exactly what you need to learn, what you need to overcome, and what you need to grow through. He's not punishing you, he's positioning you. The setbacks, the disappointments, the delays, they're all part of the building process. You can't build a skyscraper without a solid foundation. You can't climb a mountain without the right equipment. You can't run a marathon without the right training. Every challenge you face is strengthening your foundation, equipping you with the resilience, the wisdom, and the determination to handle the success you have been asking for. God is building you for the blessing, and that process requires time, patience, and perseverance. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The very things that feel like they are holding you back are pushing you forward. The hard times are teaching you endurance, and the tough seasons are developing your character. You asked for greatness, and now God is giving you everything you need to carry it. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep trusting that everything you are going through is shaping you into the person you need to be for what's coming next. The work you are putting in now will pay off in ways you can't even imagine yet. When you start comparing your journey to someone else's, you take your focus off of what God is doing in your life. You begin to think that your progress isn't enough because it doesn't look like someone else's success. You start measuring your worth against their achievements. And in the process, you lose sight of what God has specifically called you to do. Comparison makes you think you are behind, that you are missing out. But in reality, it just distracts you from the path God has set for you. You have to remember that God has a unique plan for your life. What works for someone else isn't necessarily what's going to work for you. God knows exactly what you need and when you need it. But when you get caught up in comparison, you start thinking that there's only one way to succeed, and that path might not even be the one God has for you. His plan for your life is bigger and better than anything you can compare it to. When you start trusting that, when you stop measuring your life by someone else's, you will realize just how much God is working in your favor. Comparison breeds doubt. It makes you question your abilities, your progress, and even your worth. When you are too busy looking at someone else's success, you stop appreciating the steps you are taking in your own life. You forget that every day is a win. Every small victory adds up to something big. But when you are constantly comparing yourself to others, you miss the beauty in your journey. You miss the power of trusting God and walking out His purpose for your life. God has equipped you with everything you need to succeed in your unique way. But if you are too busy comparing yourself to others, you will never fully step into the power He's placed inside of you. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. Your success is not meant to be measured by their standards. When you trust that God is doing something special in your life, you will stop worrying about what others are doing and start focusing on what He's doing through you. You have got to stop letting comparison rob you of your peace. When you compare, you are saying, God, I don't trust your timing, your plan, or your provision for me. You are saying that someone else's blessing is better than what God has for you. But God is not in the business of giving you what someone else has. He has something just for you, something that fits your calling, your gifts, and your purpose. Trust that what God has for you is exactly what you need, even if it doesn't look like what someone else has. Comparison keeps you stuck. It keeps you from fully embracing the life God is calling you to live. When you trust God with your journey, you let go of the need to measure your life against anyone else's. You embrace your unique path, your timeline, and your progress. Comparison steals your joy and your focus, but trusting God refocuses you on His plan. It empowers you to walk with confidence, knowing that your steps are guided by the Creator of the universe, who has a perfect, individualized plan for your life. You feel like you are far away from your dreams, don't you? Like you are working, pushing, and grinding every day, but the finish line is nowhere in sight. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you are on the verge of giving up. But let me tell you, you are closer than you think. You are closer to the breakthrough, the success, the life you have been dreaming of, and it's all happening right now. The distance you feel is only a feeling. In reality, you are on the verge of something incredible. You see, sometimes it gets hardest right before the breakthrough happens. When you feel like nothing is happening, that's often when God is doing his biggest work behind the scenes. The more you struggle, the more you push, the more you feel like giving up, the closer you are to your victory. The enemy wants you to think you are far from your goals, but it's a lie. You are right where you need to be, and the victory you have been working for is just around the corner. It's easy to look at your current situation and feel like it's permanent, to look at where you are now and think it's the end of the road. But where you are now is not where you will always be. Every single thing you have been through, every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of doubt is preparing you for where you are about to go. You might not see it right now, but God is setting things up. He's lining things up. What seems like a setback is a setup for the blessing that's coming. You have been fighting, you have been praying, you have been pushing through all the obstacles, and it's been hard. But all of that effort has been pushing you closer to your breakthrough. You might be in the middle of the struggle, but that doesn't mean the end is far away. The closer you get to your destination, the stronger the resistance. The enemy wants you to quit before you get there, but God is reminding you today that you are closer than you think. If you could only see what's happening behind the scenes, if you could only catch a glimpse of what God is putting into place right now, you wouldn't hesitate for a second. Everything you have been through, everything you have overcome has been preparing you for this moment. You are closer to your miracle than you realize. Don't let the silence or the struggle make you think that nothing is happening. God is working on your behalf, and it's only a matter of time before everything falls into place. Sometimes all it takes is one more step, one more push, one more prayer for everything to change. You don't know it yet, but you are on the brink of something huge. You are just one moment away from the breakthrough, one decision away from everything aligning perfectly. Don't quit now. The enemy wants you to think you are failing, that you are falling behind, but you are closer than you think. The breakthrough you have been waiting for could be just on the other side of your persistence. It's not about how far you have come. It's about how close you are to the finish line. You have come so far already, and though it feels like you are still climbing, you are standing at the foot of your breakthrough. The journey isn't over. In fact, it's almost time to celebrate. Don't stop now. Trust that everything you have been doing, all the work, the sacrifice, and the belief is pushing you towards something amazing. Keep going because you are closer than you think. It's easy to trust when everything is going your way, isn't it? When the sun is shining, when things are smooth, and when life is handing you all the blessings you have been praying for. But let's be real. Trust isn't truly tested until the storm hits. It's when the waves are crashing, when the winds are howling, and when nothing seems to be going according to plan that trust is proven. You can't fake trust when the pressure is on. It's in the storm that you discover whether you truly believe that God is with you. When everything is falling apart, that's when you find out what your faith is made of. It's easy to say, I trust God when everything is fine. But the true test comes when you face the storm. Trust isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You have to choose to trust God even when everything around you is falling apart. You have to decide to believe that He's still in control even when it looks like chaos is winning. The storm doesn't change God's plan. And your trust in Him is proven when you hold on to that truth in the middle of the storm. The storm is uncomfortable, no doubt about it. It shakes you, it makes you question everything you thought you knew, it challenges your faith and your patience. But here's the thing, storms don't last forever, they come and go. And when you hold on to your trust in God, you will come out stronger on the other side. The storm may bend you, but it will never break you if you keep trusting in God's power, His protection, and His promises. The more intense the storm, the stronger your trust becomes. It's in the storm that you see just how unshakable your faith is. You have got to stop looking at the storm and start looking at the Savior. When Peter stepped out of the boat to walk on water, it was only when he took his eyes off Jesus and looked at the wind and the waves that he started sinking. The storm will always try to distract you, to make you focus on the chaos, to make you think that you are alone in the battle. But when you keep your eyes fixed on God, when you choose to trust in His power and His promises, you will walk through the storm and come out on top. Trust doesn't grow in comfort, it grows in adversity. The more you go through, the more you learn to rely on God. The more you see that He's always been faithful, always been with you, and always been working on your behalf, the deeper your trust will become. The storm is just a chance for you to prove to yourself and to the world that you know who your God is. He's not just God when things are easy. He's God in the storm too. And the storm will reveal His power in ways you never imagined. When you are in the storm, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions, to get discouraged, and to think that the end is near. But the storm is not the end, it's the process. It's the place where you are being refined, where your faith is being sharpened, and where your trust in God is being proven. Every storm you face is preparing you for something greater. Every battle you fight makes you stronger. Trust is proven not in the good times, but in the hard times. And it's in the storm that you get to see just how strong your trust is. You are going to make it through the storm. I don't care how fierce it is, how long it lasts, or how impossible it may seem. Trust in God, and He will see you through. The storm may be raging now, but it won't last forever. Your trust will carry you through, and when you come out on the other side, you will be stronger, wiser, and more confident in God's faithfulness. Don't let the storm shake you. Let it strengthen you. Trust is proven in the storm, and when you come through it, you will know for sure that God is faithful and He's got you covered every step of the way. There's a moments when you feel completely alone, when the world feels heavy, and you wonder if anyone cares. You might feel like you are walking through life on your own, fighting battles nobody can see, and carrying burdens nobody knows about. But I need you to hear me when I say this. You are not alone. No matter how isolated you may feel, no matter how hard things get, God is with you every single step of the way. You are never truly alone because He is right there beside you, holding you up when you can't stand on your own. In the darkest moments, when everything feels like it's falling apart, that's when God's presence is even more real than you can imagine. He's not distant. He's not far off in some unreachable place. God is with you right now in this very moment, and He sees every tear you have cried, every struggle you have faced, and every pain you have carried. He knows exactly what you are going through, and He hasn't forgotten you. You are not abandoned. God is with you, walking with you through every valley, every trial, and every storm. It's easy to feel like God has turned His back on you when things go wrong. It's easy to question where He is when you are stuck in the middle of hardship. But here's the truth. God is always with you, even when you don't feel Him. Faith isn't about feelings. It's about knowing that God is present, even in the moments when it seems like He's silent. He's working behind the scenes, orchestrating things in ways He's right there in the storm with you, holding you steady and guiding you through the darkness. Trust that His presence is constant, no matter how you feel. When you are going through trials, it can be tempting to try to handle everything on your own, to think you have to fix everything yourself. But God didn't create you to carry the weight of the world alone. He's there to carry it with you. You don't have to face the battle by yourself. When you feel overwhelmed, remember that you don't have to have all the answers. God is with you, ready to provide strength, wisdom, and peace when you need it the most. He's not waiting for you to figure it out. He's waiting for you to lean on Him and let Him lead the way. God's presence in your life is constant. He's not a distant deity watching from afar. He's a loving Father who's deeply involved in every aspect of your life. His presence isn't limited to the good moments. It's in the mess, in the struggle, and in the hardship. No matter where you are or what you are facing, God is right there beside you. He's the strength you lean on when you can't keep going. It's the comfort in your pain, the peace in your anxiety, and the hope when everything seems hopeless. You are never alone because God is always with you, and He will never leave you. There's a power that comes with knowing that God is always by your side. When you truly believe that you are not walking through life alone, everything changes. Fear loses its grip on you. Anxiety loses its power. You can face the toughest challenges with confidence because you know that the Creator of the universe is standing with you, holding your hand and walking beside you. You are never abandoned. You are never forgotten. No matter what comes your way, God is with you, and nothing can separate you from His love and His presence. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, when you are tempted to give up, when you think you can't take another step, remember this: you are not alone. God is with you. And when God is with you, there's nothing that can stand against you. You have His strength, His power, and His love working on your behalf. You may not always understand what's happening or why things are going the way they are, but you can trust that God is with you in every moment, and He will never leave you to face anything on your own. Keep going, because you are never truly alone. You have been carrying so much, haven't you? The weight of the world, the weight of expectations, the weight of things that weren't even meant to be yours to bear. You have been holding on, trying to control, trying to fix, trying to make everything work out the way you want it. But here's the truth. You weren't meant to carry all that. You weren't meant to figure it all out on your own. The sooner you realize that, the sooner you can let go and surrender it all to God. It's time to release the burden and watch what happens when you finally give it all up to Him. Surrendering isn't about giving up. It's about giving over. It's about saying, God, I trust you with this. I trust you with my future. I trust you with my dreams, my struggles, and my fears. It's about recognizing that you don't have to have all the answers and you don't have to have control over every situation. Surrendering is an act of faith. It's choosing to believe that God has a better plan for you than you could ever come up with. It's the moment when you stop fighting and start trusting. You release the need to control and let God take the wheel. What happens when you surrender everything to God? You begin to experience a peace that doesn't make sense. You stop stressing over things you can't change and start trusting God's timing, His wisdom, and His power. The moment you let go of that heavy burden, you make room for God to move in ways you never imagined. He'll open doors that you couldn't open on your own. He'll provide solutions that you never saw coming. He'll give you peace during chaos. And He'll show you that when you surrender it all to Him, you are making room for His best for your life. We try so hard to control everything, our circumstances, our relationships, our careers. But what if letting go is the key to a breakthrough? What if the more you release to God, the more you will see Him work miracles in your life? Sometimes the hardest thing is not fighting for what you want, but trusting that God knows what's best. When you surrender, you stop trying to force things to happen on your timeline, and you start living in His perfect timing. You stop striving and start resting in His promises. You stop worrying and start expecting great things to come because you know that He is faithful to bring His plans to fruition. Surrender doesn't mean that everything will be easy. It doesn't mean that all your problems will disappear overnight, but it does mean that you no longer have to face them alone. When you surrender, you are inviting God to take over. You are saying, God, I'm not strong enough to handle this on my own, but I know you are. And that's when things start to change. The weight you have been carrying begins to lift. Your perspective shifts. You start seeing the bigger picture. The pressure you have felt eases, and you begin to walk with a new sense of freedom and confidence in the fact that God is in control. When you surrender it all, God can work in ways you never imagined. He can take the mess, the pain, and the broken pieces of your life and turn them into something beautiful. He can restore what's been lost, heal what's been broken, and elevate you in ways you never dreamed possible. It's when you stop trying to control the outcome and trust Him with every detail that you allow His power to move in your life. You can't see the future, but God does. And when you surrender, you are permitting Him to work on your behalf in ways that will blow your mind.